Hey guys, and welcome to this little trade recap I had today on Euro US dollar. So I'm gonna start with a top-down analysis. So I woke up at roughly 6 a.m. Time in Germany, local time. So I started to look at this chart and I remembered this massive implosive move to the upside. So, and I also checked the stochastic RSI on a 1-hour chart first. I started to see a little trend line being formed here. You could also do the downside part here. Let's do it like this. And we see, so we have a little triangle or a little pennant being formed right here. So I lowered the time frame down to the 15-minute and things started to become a little bit clearer. We broke above the 15-minute Asia session high. We are still below, we also just broke out above this trend line. The 144 EMA is below current price, and we are above the VWAP that has just been reset 2 hours ago or something. So now let me zoom in here. If we zoom in here, we are seeing that price pulled back on top of our trend line, just touched the VWAP right here at 145. So within the next 15-minute candle, I was looking forward to place trades. You could have, for example, also already entered based on this candle. We had a bullish stochastic crossover right on this candle. The Scalper Pro just changed its color to green, and we are above the EMA and VWAP as well. So you could have speculated that this thing might break up higher. So let me just draw this in for reference. Stop at the most recent swing low. Let's look for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio right here. Make this smaller. And now, after seeing this, okay, we broke above the trend line. We retested this trend line. We retested the VWAP. I lowered it down to a 5-minute chart because that's where I afterwards started to look for my entry. So we see we got this bearish engulfing right here at the top with Scalper Pro confirming it, retesting the VWAP roughly at the same level as our upper trend line. So, and we see how beautifully this 144 EMA held support. So all of those things lining up, I waited until 2 a.m. New York local time to place my entry. So now we see 2 a.m. started right here on this candle, 5-minute candle, and we got our pin bar rejection of this trend line. So all things started to look very clear for me. The Scalper Pro is bullish, but the stochastic RSI is not lining up yet. So I waited for one more candle, and we saw at the close of this candle, we got the cross. So I entered a small position right here, stop loss at the most recent swing low. Looking forward to target a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio for a total of 30 pips on Euro US dollar. I calculated my position size, and I also set a little small order right around here to allow it to have a little pullback before it's continuing up. So let's drag this to a 2-to-1 as well, or basically to the same profit target. Usually that's the trade I start to, like, I don't know, bank some profits in, but I don't always get this entry. So let's see what's happening. So we see we're already running in profit on the first 5 minutes. Okay, we start to get a little pullback, pulling back a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, and my entry almost got triggered. Actually, it did get triggered, so I placed it a little bit up higher. I think at 50% of this 5-minute candle, just to also get a little better of an entry. All right, so that has been touched. We pulled back, so we broke out, pulled back, we broke out again, and we pulled back again. So now I was happy waiting for the next breakout, which happened shortly afterwards. We continued consolidating for a little bit, got a big bullish engulfing candlestick. So even if you hop in late into the trade, of course, your risk reward ratio is not going to be the best. And we saw we got a scalper. Yeah, we got a stochastic RSI bullish crossover, but we got it above the 50 level. So I wouldn't take it, but if you like taking setups like this, feel free. You can also see we had a Scalper Pro breakout on the same candle right here. So we broke out, had our stochastic cross, and we had a Scalper Pro breakout. That was it for me at the beginning of the London session. Sometimes at the beginning of the session you have to be careful because they like to trick people into a long position just to take it down short. So let's continue and see if it hit take profit. And we hit take profit and everything worked out exactly as planned. If we continue playing it, it actually went even higher. But you have to draw a line. When are you happy? What's enough profit for you? And with proper risk management, this trade should have made you at least 2%. Even this entry down here, based on the 15-minute chart, where we had the stochastic crossover, right on this bullish engulfing candle, above the trend line, above the VWAP, with a bullish color change on the Scalper Pro, would have been more than enough for a simple 2-to-1 hit before the chart actually started to break out. So yeah, and that's a pretty simple setup. That's what I like to do. I also looked on US 100 and US 30 and also the S&P 500, but London session on those three indices didn't work really well, and I saw the consolidation just continuing. You want to see a breakout because the strategy is there to trade breakouts, let it pull back, and during those pullbacks we want to position ourselves. When the stochastic RSI is cooling off, best case scenario is that the Scalper Pro stays green for the entire time. Otherwise we most of the time get in a candle too late, but there's not really a too late if you catch a breakout like this. Let's continue to where we're sitting right now, and that's where we are sitting right now. Looking forward after this massive breakout to pull back a little. And markets only do three things. They break out, they pull back, and they reverse. They break out, they pull back, and they continue. And that's what we're looking forward right now. So we will either see a breakout, a pullback to the VWAP, or maybe a little bit down south, further down south. We can wait for maybe a nice crossover here. We're pretty damn low. We're on a 5 on the stochastic RSI. So we could see a pullback followed by a continuation. Those are the only three things markets do. They either range, so they range, they break out, so they either pull back and continue, or they break out, they pull back and reverse and continue with the reversal. Or it continues going into a trading range. From here, continuing a even bigger trading range until it either breaks out, fails to break out, pulls back and reverses, or it pulls back and continues with the initial trend direction. Markets don't do anything else. They break out, they pull back, they continue, they break out, they reverse for a false break reversal. Yeah, and that's basically it. That was a very beautiful trade setup. If you would have taken it on a 15-minute chart, you simply could have waited, for example, until the stochastic RSI starts to go back below the 80 level, or maybe for the Scalper Pro to turn back into its bands, which would have happened right on this bearish engulfing candle right here at the top, which could have netted you a 6.5 risk to reward ratio. And what more do you need? This simple trade setup could be it for your Wednesday.